Good afternoon. Here's my Tuesday 3 o'clock video. I posted a little later today, but it's recorded Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And here's the power of now I'm reading from. And dive a little bit into it. Maybe that helps. I pick anywhere and I start reading. Eckert is asked, what is the greatest obstacle to experience this reality? Identification with the mind, he answers, which causes thought to become compulsive. The identification with the mind, not to be able to stop thinking, is a dreadful affliction. Well, I can testify to that. But we don't realize this because almost anybody is suffering from it. So it is considered normal. This incessant mental noise prevents you from finding the realm of inner stillness that is inseparable from being. These few sentences have so much potency. The incessant mental noise, it's constant thinking, an incessant stream of thought. Most people don't even realize that there is an incessant stream of thought. There's so much into it. It's what he says considered normal. It's normal to constantly think, but it's really a obstacle to enter this dimension of being, doing. Thinking is a doing versus being here where you don't have to fill every living second with something. The constant mental noise is preventing you from finding stillness. Most people find it very uncomfortable to have it still, or don't even know what to do. You can relate to another being, another person in stillness. When I used to go for an hour meditation into the monastery in Sacramento, in the morning there were others, and you could actually feel the presence. And somebody said, well, what are you doing there for an hour? I said, well, I just sit there in front of it was an altar, and you sit there in stillness. In the beginning, I started to realize how constant my mind is, not letting me sit in stillness. And then gradually it calmed down. Something happened. It calmed more down. When I'm recording these videos and there's a moment of stillness, it almost feels as if it needs to be filled with something. the philosopher Descartes believed that he had found the most fundamental truths when he made his famous statement, "I think, therefore I am." He had in fact given expression to the most basic error. It's very important. The equate thinking was being, and identity was thinking. The compulsive thinker, which means almost everyone lives in a state of appearance separateness in an insanely complex world of continuous problems and conflict, a world that reflects the ever-increasing fragmentation of the mind. Enlightenment is a state of wholeness, of being at one, and therefore at peace. At one with life in its manifested aspect. The world, as well as with your deepest self and life unmanifested. At one with being. Enlightenment is not only the end of suffering and of continuous conflict within and without, but also the end of the dreadful enslavement to incessant thinking. What an incredible liberation that is. It is here in the book described almost as you're enslaved, a slave, imprisoned by the mind, and that is true. People like to say, "I think," it's not true. They are being thought. They wouldn't say, "I digest my food, I pump my blood," but there is a automatic, and you can become aware of thought, of your thought. And that moment you become aware of it, it seems to me that you receive the key to the door that can let you out of that prison. Now, how to use that key and to open the door, that might take a moment. But first, you have to know you are in a prison. Otherwise, you will never be able to let you out, because you don't be aware of that. But if you wanted to live a life of joy and ease, then it is necessary that you take that evolutionary step. It's the evolution of humankind. That's how we develop. We're not gonna grow a second head and a third arm and look like we have evolved. I think the evolvement that humankind experiences these days is much on the inside, and that is it. We go beyond the mind identified state. And The Power of Now is a book that has very powerful picked up on that and brought it into almost a mainstream view. I don't know, 15-30 million copies sold of these books, Eckert written, and I certainly like to be in the assistance and help of making it more public as the planet needs it. The planet needs us to wake up. There was a prayer I learned. Mother of the Universe, wake us up, was part of it. And Sri Ma publicized that in one of her songs. When we wake up, we are able to move in a dimension that is, it's freer. It is not so problem ridden. It is not such a following this false promise that happiness lies in buying things and puts a smile on everybody's face in commercials. It's not following that any longer. It leads you back to that happiness and unhappiness is actually one, underneath, deeper or higher, you could say also. I prefer deeper is peace. Peace is not in this duality of first you're happy, and then you're unhappy. It's peace is a deeper state of connectedness, and the power of now is a guide through it. Almost, you could call it a guide. I could call it a guide. Anyway, I've been talking for a while, and there's much to take in. I say grog. Grog. What I've been explained. What it means is when you understand something whole, fully. And when you understand this book, not just with your head, but with your entire existence. The head just rides the machine, but there is so much more that when you can grasp that, not just on an intellectual but on a being level, when you can not just understand but live the truth, first you live it, then a different life experience. It's almost as you could say a different drummer. You dance to the beat of a different drummer. And to some you may look very strange and you say weird things, and to others not so much. But it is a wonderful, wonderful thing when you can transcend rather than shed. Shed is okay too, but transcending is you go beyond. Beyond the thinking. You're not getting rid of thinking, but there is another dimension. I like to call it the vertical dimension, the horizontal and the vertical dimension. Your life starts to become much more dimensional. enough said for today. Please join me again on next Tuesday for certain. Maybe I post something in between, I never know. Thank you for listening and making me part of your experience. I am certainly thankful for that. Have a blessed and peaceful day. Namaste. Bye bye.